I've talked to a lot of parents and I've talked to a lot of students. I ran out of time earlier today when I came by and expressed my dismay with the fact that this is even a question. But I came back tonight to remind you that the CDC is a corrupt organization. That was proven last week when the Supreme Court overruled their unlawful and unconstitutional eviction moratorium. They are not credible. Don't allow them to run this ship. The spirit of my father, a Purple Heart Vietnam veteran, is with me tonight. He's got his hand on my back. He wants me to remind you that the freedom he defended is not for any of you to destroy. Agent Orange was used by our government with devastating results. It took 5 years for the United Nations to recognize and take action against the dangerous and widely used chemical. It was used for 10 years on Americans and Vietnamese people who are still being born with birth defects. Imagine the results of this vaccine. It's not properly tested. It's not liable for any injury. It's not really been studied. It's created by Fauci, Bill Gates, Wuhan Associates. There was a Department of Justice report where there was a Harvard professor who was arrested for working with the Chinese Communist Party. Check the website. It's there. Nobody's talking about it. Not Fox 5. Nobody. I ask for you to please vote no on these.
I'm here as a veteran. I'm not going to state all my credentials because all the letters behind a name mean is that you paid somebody to get your education and you weren't self-taught. Anybody can get letters behind their name and pass a test. I also come here as somebody who is vaccine injured. Both of my children were also vaccine injured due to the negligence of the pediatrician not knowing who should or should not receive certain vaccines. Page 9, number 14 on the VAERS compensation website, I have been told by many people, I've been called anti-vax. I've been told that vaccines do not cause immune deficiency, but like I said, page 9, number 14 on the VAERS compensation website, it's stated on there, CVID, which is what I have, mast cell activation syndrome with Mr. Jara. If you taught biology, I would appreciate you to please pay attention. Mast cell activation is highly underdiagnosed, which is why so many kids have allergies nowadays, but pediatricians and regular doctors are not trained enough in immunology or genetics to understand most of this. This is not science anymore. This is not science when you have Governor Sisolak mandating masks that are cloth that we know don't stop it. If I have COVID and I rub my nose and the snot comes through a cloth mask and I go and touch everything, that's not science. Your mucous membranes are your largest exposed, your eyes are your largest exposed mucous membranes. We know that we can contract COVID through our eyes. This is not acceptable. It's also not acceptable to force vaccinations on anybody. I don't expect anybody to get a vaccine to protect me. It didn't protect me. Masks didn't protect me. I had blood in my lungs when I had COVID last year. I recovered. So did my children. I don't agree that this should be mandated for anybody.
Thank you, ma'am.
Among society, it's called anti-fascist, anti-fascism. I'm not going to make a big speech. Mandating the masks and a vaccine that nobody knows what's going to happen to them if they take it in the near future, that's medical fascism. I'm a CCSD employee. I work in the special ed department. I'm also the parent of 2 CCSD students. And as mentioned earlier, Chicago Public Schools passed the vaccine mandate for their employees. Just one of the effects felt from this mandate was when hundreds of bus drivers quit, leaving thousands of students without transportation. If you don't think similar effects will be felt in our district, then you need to wake up. I drove an hour and a half here from Mesquite. These effects will be felt tremendously in our rural schools. I don't think that we're thought about out there as often as we need to be thought about. These effects will cripple the rural schools. Mandating this experimental shot to employees is in a district already short over 750 teachers, and paying substitutes up to $1,000 bonuses would be an absurd decision. Repeatedly, you have failed in your duties when COVID-19 shut down our schools the first time, and you ignored and forgot about our special needs students, pushing parents and caregivers into deep depression and, sadly, in far too many student suicides. Wake up. Educate our children. If this mandate passes, you will only continue to fail our students. Teachers and staff will walk out, only widening the gap of our teacher shortage. Ultimately, if you vote for this mandate, it will hurt our kids. It will hurt our children's education. Focus on what you're getting paid for, to educate students, not infringing on my human rights and making medical decisions for me and my family. I've been blessed with a God-given immune system that has antibodies proven to be 13 times more effective than an experimental shot to fight COVID-19. I also had God-given rights protected by the Constitution of the United States of America that Angela Crouch. I don't teach with Jody, I teach across town. I also drove an hour and a half to be here. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I happened to read your reply. It's from the CCSD, so I'm not sure who wrote it. It says, adopting and implementing required vaccination for COVID-19 is the responsible, common-sense course of action we've seen many other government agencies, companies, institutions, and organizations pursue. You know, this reminds me so much of how, as a child, I used to argue with my parents by saying, well, Debbie's doing it, Jody gets to do it, Lonnie gets to do it, why can't I do it? My very wise parents told me, well, if Johnny and Lonnie and Kim and Debbie want to jump off a cliff, are you going to jump off the cliff too? This is a very valid and important lesson my parents were teaching me. They were teaching me to think critically for myself. That's invaluable. If you want a vaccine, that's your choice. If I don't want a vaccine, that's my choice. You are forcing me to choose between my 25th year of educating children, whom I love beyond belief, and being able to support my family. That's what you're forcing. It's wrong. It is very wrong. And I'll leave you with this last piece. If you haven't checked into OSHA, if you require your employees to be vaccinated as a condition of employment, you are responsible for their adverse reactions. It is recordable and reportable. Thank you. First and foremost, I'm an American. I am a 12-year U.S. military veteran and a 40-year resident of Clark County. My 2 children and my 4 grandchildren, except for the youngest one, have all gone to CCSD and graduated from CCSD. Thank you for allowing me to comment on this very important matter. I'm not going to address whether CCSD should be approved to force their employees to get vaccinated. Instead, I want to remind you, Dr. Hara, and other officials at the highest levels at CCSD, that the Constitution protects a person's freedom of choice in medical care, including the right to refuse unwanted medical treatment, in this case, an alleged vaccination. Thus, CCSD, as an employer, has no constitutional right to strip its employees of their freedom to make their own medical decisions, which also are typically done in consultation with their doctors, not their employers. Secondly, another consideration is an individual's religious rights. Do you know there are federal equal employment opportunity laws that prohibit employers from discriminating against an employee for exercising his or her religious beliefs, or harassing them and treating them differently, as CCSD is doing, by forcing their unvaccinated employees to test twice a week and possibly be subjected to termination of employment? Pharmaceuticals have zero liability, but not you as an employer. So I asked the CCSD, are you willing to assume 100% responsibility for covering any and all expenses incurred by an employee who may suffer?
Thank you so much. I am a longtime resident here since 1999, actually. I have 3 kids who went through the Clark County School District. They're all in their 30s now. Now I have a granddaughter who is in the system. While I appreciate the fact that all of you are here and doing your job, I also looked you up on your own.
Look up your Facebook account.
On your own site. Each one of you are all well educated. You're a psychologist. A lot of your families came from foreign countries to be here to make sure that you had an education. These people are making sure that our kids have an education. I want to know. We already know that by reading, you're not a medical people. You don't have any medical degrees. You don't have any medical anything. So let me show you something.
Let me show you my hernia.
I don't know, do you guys know who Stephen Anderson is? He is the director of the Center for, let's get it right. The Center for Biology's Evaluation and Research for the FDA. Right, FDA is a pretty big thing, right? I mean, everybody knows what the FDA is. There's a list here. FDA Safety Surveillance of COVID-19 Vaccines Draft. A working list, which means that these things are going to be added, of adverse event outcomes. So let me just read to you. Adverse event outcomes. Let's just start with a simple one. Anaphylaxis. Acute myocardial infarction. That's a blockage of blood flow to the heart muscle. Did you know that? Probably not. So, Karen, I have 3 kids in the district. I'm here to support our teachers and my children. This isn't a pro-vax or anti-vax debate. This is a right to choose what is best for yourself. That's why we live in America. To have our freedom to choose what is best for ourselves. If you mandate this vaccine, not only will you lose amazing teachers that are irreplaceable and care about our children as much as they do, but it will cause a snowball effect.
They'll lose the children in the district whose teachers have quit due to their choice being stripped from them. The parents will rise up, pull our children from CCSD. You already have the staffing shortage, and it will only get worse. These teachers shouldn't be told they have to do something. That makes things appear safer. Whether you're vaccinated or not, you can still contract and spread the virus. Let these teachers make their own decisions. Let these teachers continue to do what they love and shape the minds of our children for the future without forcing unnecessary mandates on them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Lindsay Piazza. Thank you for having us here today. I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada. I have 5 children who are products of the CCSD.
For you.
One is no longer in CCSD as he has graduated when we moved to a different state. We recently relocated back here due to personal decisions, and I'm deeply regretting my decisions. Earlier this evening, Patrick spoke, and I may not feel the same as he does, but I appreciate the fact that he has that choice, which is what we're all here for. We don't want our choice removed. I'm actually contracted as an employee for CCSD, so I'm also here on behalf of all the teachers who do not want that choice removed. I also didn't approve when Ms. Morales stood up and left the room for over 20 minutes, but then was very petty, asking for 5 seconds to be taken off of someone who was trying to ask for your guys' undivided attention. Thank you.
Hello, I am Natalie Rita, and I have been a special ed teacher with Clark County. This is my 16th year, and I'm seeing the pattern here tonight. Seems like there's a lot of special ed teachers. I teach 11th and 12th grade resource kids, and I tell them all the time that, I probably had to be in special ed when I was little. And it goes back to gut instinct. Maybe that's what it is. I had to grow into my book smarts. But I wrote a little list while I was sitting out there. Let's see here. I do think that the students are in the middle. Like, I was here last week. I was kind of drone-like. I was a little tired. But the kids are in the middle, and it's very sad. Because our concern is with the mandate. And I know that you guys feel like you're under a lot of pressure. I get that, too. But the kids, at the end of the day, are in the middle. They don't like when I take a long weekend. They get, upset about that. They want me there. So it's kind of sad to think that I might not be there. I don't know. It's sad. It breaks my heart. Obviously, I'd be financially in trouble if that happened. But I support experimental stuff. Hey, if you want to take the vaccine, that's great. That's awesome. I support experimental stuff. I'm a little concerned just about the possibilities of what can happen. And I think that's pretty fair. It's fair to be concerned about COVID, and it's fair to be concerned about a vaccine. Who knows what the odds are, but we know that they're out there. It can happen. And it shouldn't come down to having to look it right in the face for us to learn that bad stuff can happen. And you know what? I'm Cuban. And I think, Jara, you're Cuban too, I'm not sure. But, no? Okay, maybe I must have been a different superintendent. But yeah, my father left Cuba, he was 15, and communism isn't cool when it comes down to losing, obviously, the rights thing. I know we get patronized about rights. However, that's how it starts. The whole Hunger Games thing, we think that's impossible. It could happen 100 years from now. But anyway, the bottom line is, it's sad.
Vaccine doesn't make sense. I would be more concerned about losing more teachers and staff. We are already short over 700 teachers, 200 bus drivers, support staff, and subs. I can tell you that in my school, we are short a 3rd grade teacher, a 2nd grade teacher, a 5th grade teacher, and our art teacher had to teach autism. And our buses come 45 minutes late every single day. Losing more staff due to being forced into doing something they are either not comfortable with or have other health issues that cause concern about taking this vaccine would ultimately be a greater danger to students and their education. I would also like to know if the school district is going to take a liability for those who have an adverse reaction to this vaccine. And I'm wondering, since the FDA-approved vaccine, Comirnaty, I'm saying it wrong, isn't available to us right now, and the ones that are still under EUA, I believe there is a federal law.
Thank you. I am a mother of 3 children that each attend a